Good morning. I would like to welcome you all to our annual Brown County Schools Veterans Day ceremony in the Larry C. Banks Memorial Gymnasium. My name is Emily Tracy, and I am honored to serve as the superintendent for Brown County Schools. Today, we have the great pleasure of honoring our veterans, both living and past, who have selflessly served our great nation. Thank you for joining us this morning. I do hope that you enjoy what promises to be a very special program. At this time, I would like to welcome our most honored guests. Please join me in welcoming them as Mr. Brian Gaum introduces each era of service.
Good morning, everyone. As the banners advance, please acknowledge our veterans. We'll start with the World War I banner, and if we could observe a moment of silence for the fallen. As the banner for World War II advances, we want to acknowledge the spouse of one of our Brown County World War II veterans who's walking with the banner today. The veterans of Korea. The veterans of Vietnam. The veterans of the Cold War.
No, she's walking with her husband. Don't go.
veterans of the Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And the members of the Brown County Honor Guard.
Thank you, veterans. At this time, we ask that you stand as Scout Troop 190 posts the colors. At this time, please welcome Brown County High School student Noah Lewis.
Please stand as you are and as able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Please be seated. I would like to pay special recognition to any widows of veterans that have joined us today. Please stand where you are to be recognized. Thank you for your service. And now I welcome Mrs. Alicia Adams and Mrs. Emily Llewellyn to the podium.
Good morning. I'm Emily Llewellyn, and this is my colleague, Alicia Adams. Each year, as sponsors of the Brown County High School History Club, we are honored to speak about an impactful initiative, Jeans for Brown County Vets. This program allows teachers and staff across Brown County schools to wear jeans to work for a week in exchange for their donations to support our local veterans.
Over the years, this effort has grown to include contributions from community members, allowing us to raise thousands, and I think we're almost to tens of thousands at this point, of dollars for Nashville VFW's Post 6195. Once again, we invite our community to join us in supporting this important cause. Following the ceremony, you'll find History Club members stationed throughout the gym with canisters ready to accept donations for our local VFW post.
Every contribution, no matter the size, makes a difference and directly benefits Brown County and our veterans. We are sincerely grateful for your generosity. Thank you.
And now, our Brown County High School Band and the combined middle and high school choir will perform Armed Forces, the Pride of America, narrated by Brian Gaum. We invite our service members in attendance to stand and be recognized when their branch is named.
The United States Army. United States Marine Corps. The United States Navy.
Farewell to College Joyce, we sail and break up.
United States Coast Guard. United States Air Force.
It is now my honor to welcome Mr. Bill Hamilton and Mr. Reitzman to present the Voice of Democracy winners.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today to honor the veterans and all our comrades, their families, members of the community, and guests this Veterans Day. We want to thank our superintendent, Ms. Emily Tracy, principals, teachers, staff, and all the students who have helped make this happen. My name is Bill Hamilton, and I'm the commander of the Nashville Veterans of Foreign Wars, VFW, Post 6195. It's an honor to be here today. Assisting me today is my junior vice commander, Ed Reitzman. First, I would like to take a moment to ask everyone here today to look at the men and women here. When our country called, they stepped forward to do their part. Some served overseas, some served here at home, but all have served. We all have memories of those we served with. Some of those memories are good, some are not. Some members would rather not remember what they experienced with or survived, and others did not. But a round of applause and a thank you for the serving helps with those memories. Today, I would like to thank everyone for the support that Brown County always shows her veterans. Did you know that Brown County is home to the remains of service members dating back to the American Revolution? Today's young citizens also continue to proudly serve. Our current Veterans Organization provides the flags that are placed on the graves on our military veterans every May. Volunteers and students have helped place those flags. We thank you for your assistance. Every May, we sell Buddy Poppies. Buddy Poppies trace their history back to World War I and Flanders Field. The donations we receive pay for the awards we are giving out today and our other school-based projects. The patriotism and generosity of Brown County is inspiring. Thank you for all your loyal support. Each year, the VFW wants to recognize students and teachers through the Patriots Pen program, the Voice of Democracy program, and the Smart Mayor Citizenship Education Teacher Recognition Program. Each one is judged by a panel of veterans and community members. This year, the Voice of Democracy theme is America Today, Our Forefathers' Vision. Students in the high school competed on the audio essay. One top 3 winners will advance to the district level, where they compete with the winners from the 15 posts in our district. The district winner then advances to the state level, and the state winner advances to the national level. The state winners will receive a trip to Washington, D.C., and at the national level, they may receive up to a $300,000 scholarship. This year, we are happy to honor, congratulate the winners of the Voice of Democracy. Our third place winner for the Voice of Democracy is Juliana Gallagher. You hear? Oh. Juliana, please come forward, which she just did. Juliana Award is an engraved medal, a certificate, and a monetary award of $150. Congratulations. Thank you. Our second place winner of the Voice of Democracy is Owen East. Oh, there he comes. How you doing, sir? Owens Award is an engraved medal, a certificate, and a monetary award of $200. Congratulations. Our first place winner for the Voice of Democracy is Adelaide Greedy. Adelaide's award is an engraved medal, a certificate, and a monetary award of $250. Congratulations. And we also want to have Adelaide, our first place winner, share her essay with everyone here today.
The United States of America today stands as a global superpower where all citizens have the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our society was shaped by the ideals of our founding fathers, the ideals of individual rights and freedom. Yet, as our nation navigates the challenges of the 21st century, it is worth asking whether our America today truly reflects what our forefathers envisioned nearly 2 centuries ago. When trying to understand the answer to this question, it becomes clear that while the foundation of their vision is still in use, the evolution of the United States of America has added on to their vision. Despite the fact that America has changed dramatically since the colonists declared independence, we continue to use democracy and the Bill of Rights to reflect our forefathers' ideals. The democratic principles of representative democracy, where citizens elect representatives to serve their interests, remain at the heart of the U.S. political system. This embodies our founders' commitment to self-governance. Not only do we still use a democratic system of government today, we also still use the Bill of Rights to outline our rights as citizens of America. The Bill of Rights makes it so that the people are able to have their rights of speech, religion, assembly, and more safeguarded from being stripped away. These rights of speech, religion, and assembly have been fundamental to American society since the founding of the nation. These rights have evolved through various interpretations and court rulings over the years. For instance, the right to free speech has expanded to include not just spoken words, but also symbolic speeches, such as protests and social media posts. The right to practice any religion freely has been upheld, but has now expanded to a broader range of beliefs and practices, ensuring that all American citizens can worship without discrimination. Similarly, the right to assemble peacefully has been a cornerstone for social movements and public demonstrations. Despite these changes, these rights remain crucial as they empower individuals to express their beliefs and stand up for their rights, just as our forefathers intended. One thing that has evolved from our founding fathers' vision is the love and respect we have for our veterans. In the times of the Revolutionary War, the Continental Congress passed legislation to provide medical care for disabled veterans. They also established hospitals, medical care services, promised land grants, and promised pensions for veterans and soldiers. Even though the government attempted to help at the time, it was considered new, temporary, and unable to uphold financial stability. This caused many Revolutionary soldiers to struggle to receive the benefits that they were promised once the war was over. Although veterans were still seen as heroes back then, they are now held in very high regard and are well taken care of. The things we offer today for our veterans, such as veteran affairs, disability compensation, pensions, and support of veteran-owned small businesses, are things that our forefathers wanted to see happen but could not execute in their time. Ultimately, while the basic framework the founders created remains intact, modern interpretations of their vision reflect the evolving needs and values of contemporary America. These interpretations have made the United States a better place where all citizens can feel equally represented and cared for by our government.
Every year, the VFW acknowledges teachers for their hard work, dedication, and inspiration in creating a sense of national pride in their students. We are able to nominate an elementary, middle school, and high school teacher every year. This year, the VFW Post 6195 is recognizing 2 of our teachers for their outstanding efforts. At this time, we would like to recognize Michelle Joy of Helmsburg Elementary and Abby Magner of Sprunica Elementary.
Is this those?
Yeah, I gotta take those back to there. As the Teachers of Year nominees. Thank you for supporting our students, teachers, and our veterans. At this time, I will turn the program back over to Superintendent Tracy.
I would like to welcome Brown County High School History Club President Noah Lewis and History Club member Haley Darnell to the podium.
Good morning. In the United States, we hold profound respect for those who have served and are currently serving in the armed forces. Our gratitude stems from many reasons, but primarily it is their sacrifice to protect those that they cherish that resonates most. These brave men and women have faced life-threatening situations, gaining experiences that they will one day share with future generations. Even if you do not personally know a veteran, their courage enables all of us to build friendships, take risks, and grow as individuals. Veterans serve not only for themselves, but for each and every one of us and the values our nation represents. Their sacrifices grant us the privilege of living securely, freely, and in unity.
This is why our veterans are invaluable. They risk their lives for us all, yet their dedication would not be possible without the steadfast support of loved ones left behind. In recognition of this, Brown County High School's History Club has created this video to honor both those who served and those whose unwavering support enabled them to do so. We would like to extend a special thanks to the families who have filled the void left by service. We express our deepest gratitude not only for your loved one's service, but for the sacrifices you too have made. With that, we invite you to watch this tribute video. Thank you.
My husband is Ed Reitzman, and my name is Lana, and we have been married 54 plus, almost 55 years.
I'm Benita Marshall.
And then who was your husband?
Captain Henry Clay Marshall.
My husband is First Sergeant, Senior Master Sergeant Bill Hamilton. He was in the Air Force for 33 years. And I'm Judy Hamilton, his spouse. I'm a retired teacher.
My husband is Steve Snyder, and we've been married for 29 years in May. And we met right before I graduated high school. I was 18 and he was 20.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Dowden.
Okay, and then who was your husband?
My husband was Richard Allen Dowden.
Who is my husband, Herb Ross. When he was in the Navy, I was not married to him. I didn't even know him. So then after we got married, I learned all about his adventures and all the things that he'd done.
My husband is Taylor. He's the best thing to ever happen to me and such an answered prayer, and I love him. And a little bit about me is I'm 27 and I own a coffee shop.
So my husband is Kyle Miner. He is the school resource officer here at Brown County School Corporation. My name is Sterling Miner, and I co-own REMAX team here in Nashville.
We were married in June 1970, and he deployed
Early January.
Early January 1971. So we were together 6 months as a married couple before he was deployed.
We had known each other, believe it or not, since he was 10 years old.
We've been together for 31 years, and he was deployed right after we moved down here in '99, which means we were married for 8 years when he deployed.
I'd already served 6 years before we got married.
About like 3 when we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she knew what she was getting into. Somewhat.
I'm Edie, and I've been married to her for 42 years next week.
We've been together 7 months. 7 months. 7 months?
We've been together almost 10 years, but we had only been together 3 years
Yes.
when you joined the military.
Army, U.S. Army.
He served in the Army. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam.
Army National Guard.
Army.
He was in the Air Force.
How many years did you serve in the Navy?
3 years, 9 months, and 28 days.
I'm in the Indiana Army National Guard.
I served a year in Vietnam. A year stateside. I got as much training as I could, so I spent most of the first year going through training.
So they've got him legally serving 37 and a half years.
Wow.
He always said that he was the warrior in the family. That way his brother didn't have to go to war.
And he's stationed out of Bacalor Air Force Base, which it was Columbus Airport. He was actually stationed in Dayton, Ohio, and what he was a parachute rigger for equipment and for people.
I went to boot camp, then went to personnel school, and went aboard a destroyer. And we went to the Mediterranean. When we come back from the Mediterranean, the Korean War was fighting. So we got ready and we went to Korea.
I deployed twice to Afghanistan.
I was deployed twice, combat deployments, and then I did 3 rotations.
Went to Germany, and then back in
2019, pre-COVID.
Yeah. And then I was recently activated for the hurricane relief.
So, were you deployed?
Several times after September 11th, yes. Azores, Saudi Arabia, 2 tours in Guam, 2 assignments to Hawaii, and the worst one was Afghanistan. That was the worst one, and then that was in 2010. And no, it wasn't good to be at Afghanistan. It was one of the worst ones I've ever been in 33 years.
Gave me hope, something to look forward to.
I'm just proud of him. He did what he wanted to do.
She was always taking care of everything while I was gone, and she would send me things that I couldn't get or needed for my men.
because I was in charge of a lot of men back
And I'm sure that was a good, like, pick.
Yeah.
I've learned that mail call every day was a big deal because like 4 guys would go with him to mail call to see if I had sent a package and if it had arrived and what was in it for them.
Everybody talks about the veterans and what the veterans do and all this, but they don't talk a lot about what the wives do and what they have to go through with. I mean, she's my hero because, I mean, it's really tough. When I left, she basically became a single parent, and just in the blink of an eye like that. So she had to deal with all the stuff that she would normally deal with, and then all the stuff that I would deal with if I was there. It's hard on the spouse at home.
Oh, I'm very proud of him. He's very involved with the VFW. He goes to their meetings every month, and anything in the county, he helps with the poppies. He helps with anything they ask, he will volunteer.
I think as a man, it really strived me to do a lot more.
I know that she can handle whatever life's going to throw at her during that time.
I was proud, that he was able to represent our county in that respect, and that he took on that responsibility and didn't walk away from it.
It takes patience, it takes time, and it takes talking to each other.
Make something of yourself and don't make excuses for anything. Just work hard and stick to your guns and do what you need to do.
Work hard, make your foundation. Set your foundation as to what kind of person you are and follow through with that.
Make sure you talk to each other, communicate. That's important to keep a healthy relationship, because if you don't talk, then you're not going to know what each one is feeling.
Really communicate, be open, love each other.
Try new things. Don't just stick around. There's more than just your hometown.
And you just can't give up.
In any relationship, whether you're in high school, but anytime you're in a relationship with someone else, it's giving it time and talking to each other and being honest about it.
It's a long road. Like, you definitely got to be able to make sure your partner is going to be there to pick up the slack and just handle everything while you're gone.
There's no greater honor than being, a military wife.
Ladies and gentlemen, God Bless the USA, performed by our very own Brown County High School Jazz Band and Rhapsody Show Choir soloists Caleb Clifford and Cameron Higgins.
If tomorrow all the things were gone you worked for all your life, and you had to start all over with just your children and your wife, you'd thank your lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and it's time we stand and say, and I'm proud to be an American, and at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that life to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt this land. God bless the USA.
To be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
And at this time, I would like to welcome Brown County High School Principal, Mr. Steve Sharoman.
Good morning, students, faculty, staff, families, and honored guests. Today we come together at Brown County High School to honor the men and women who have served our military, to remember their sacrifices, and to reflect on the enduring courage that has shaped our nation. As your principal, it is a privilege to lead a school that so deeply respects and values the sacrifices made by our veterans and their families. Veterans Day is a time for us to remember not just the history of our nation's military, but the personal stories of sacrifice that often go untold. We live in a community that understands the true meaning of service and sacrifice. For many of us, this day is a chance to reflect on the impact that that service has had on others and on our lives, whether it's the veterans in our families, the young men and women who have chosen to continue this tradition of service. Today I want to share with you a letter that was written by a serviceman during World War II. A letter that he wrote to his wife and to his children. His words, filled with love and longing, helped carry his family through the difficult months of his deployment. The soldier, Sergeant John H. Miller, wrote to his wife, Evelyn, and to their 2 children, expressing not only his love, but also his hopes and promise for the future, even as he faced the uncertainty of battle. Sergeant Miller's letter reads as follows. My dearest Evelyn, I know it's been a while since I wrote. The days are long here, and the work never seems to end. But I find peace in the thought of you and the kids back home. I often find myself sitting on the ground, looking up at the stars and wondering if you can see the same stars. I know it sounds silly, but it helps me feel close to you. Sometimes when I close my eyes, I can almost hear the sound of little footsteps running through the house, or feel the warmth of your hand in mine. There are days when the fighting seems endless, and the fear is a constant companion. But I remind myself of why I am here. I am here for you, Evelyn. I am here for the children. I am here to ensure that you have a future with love and laughter and safety. Every day I am away from you is a day I count the moments until I can return home to you. And I hold on to the thought as tightly as I hold on to this letter. I want you to know that even though I'm not there with you, I carry you with me in everything I do. Your love, your strength, and your courage are what keep me going through the hardest days. And when I am back, we'll make up for every moment that was lost. I promise you that. Tell Tommy and Jenny I love them with all my heart. I miss their laughter and I think of them every day. They are my reason for fighting, Evelyn. You all are the reason I fight. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know this. When the war is over, I will be coming home to you. Until then, my love, please know that you are always in my thoughts, and I am counting the days until I can hold you all again. With all my love, John. Sergeant Miller's letter is a powerful reminder of what it means to be a soldier, not just in the moment of battle, but in the quiet, reflective moments when a soldier looks beyond the hardships of war and focuses on what he is fighting for, the love of his family, the hope of returning home, and the promise of a better future. Sergeant Miller never knew exactly when he would return home, and like so many soldiers, he faced the constant fear of what might happen in the days ahead. But he wrote this letter, filled with love, because he knew it would provide comfort to his wife and children during the difficult months. It was his way of saying, I am still here, I am still with you, and I will come home. For Evelyn and their children, this letter was not just a message from the battlefield, it was a lifeline. It reminded them that even in his absence, Sergeant Miller was present in their hearts and that his love for them was stronger than distance that separated them. This letter is one of thousands that were written by soldiers to their families during wartime, letters that served as emotional anchors, offering comfort and strength during the hardest of times. Soldiers wrote these letters to remind their loved ones that they were not alone, that they were still loved, and that the sacrifice would ultimately be worth it. These letters were the quiet acts of courage that happened behind the front lines, personal, intimate, and filled with hope. As we reflect on these sacrifices, your sacrifices, I want to also take a moment to honor our seniors, if you would come up, please, who have committed to military service after graduation. Angel Cruz, Vince Tom, Ella Schultz, and Jaden Dersh. You have made the courageous decision to serve our nation, to step forward in a tradition that is deeply woven into the fabric of this country. Your decision to serve, just like those who are here and came before you, reflects your strength, your sense of duty, and your commitment to the values that we hold dear. For each of you, your service will mean something different. It will be a different kind of sacrifice, and it will challenge you in ways that you may not yet understand. But just like Sergeant Miller, you will carry with you the love and support of your family, your friends, and this community. And just as his letter carried comfort to his family, we hope you will always feel the strength of your community behind you, encouraging you, supporting you, and waiting for you to return home. To the rest of us here today, whether or not we choose a path in the military, I ask that you reflect on the sacrifices made, not just on the battlefield, but by the families who wait, the loved ones who kept the home fires burning, the courage it takes to send someone off to war, to live each day in uncertainty, is something we can all learn from. These families are our families, and their sacrifices are our sacrifices. Veterans Day is not only about honoring the past, it's about honoring and remembering the sacrifices that continue today. It's about understanding the emotional cost of service, the love that drives soldiers to fight, and the hope they carry with them. It's about understanding that the freedoms we enjoy every day are built on the sacrifices made by men and women like Sergeant Miller, and by those of you who are here with us today. So to all of our veterans, To the families who have supported them, and to the students who are committed to serve, thank you. Your sacrifices do not go unnoticed, and we are forever grateful for your service. May we continue to honor and remember these sacrifices, not just today, but every day. Thank you.
We are fortunate today to have with us our friend, Senator Eric Cook, to share a few words with our audience. Senator Eric Cook proudly serves the people of Indiana's 44th District, representing Brown, Jackson, Lawrence, Monroe, and Orange counties. A dedicated public servant, Senator Cook has committed himself to issues of public safety, veterans' rights, and economic growth. With deep roots in Indiana, he's long championed policies that support and honor our military and veteran communities. Senator Cook's commitment to service extends beyond his legislative work. He is a respected advocate for rural communities and a steadfast supporter of initiatives that strengthen Indiana families. We are honored to welcome Senator Cook today to our Veterans Day ceremony.
Thank you, Superintendent Tracy. It's an honor to be here today as we celebrate our freedoms and recognize the veterans whose service protects our nation. In some ways, however, today is also a solemn one. As we honor the fallen, remember the military families now separated from their loved ones, and of course, never forgetting those POWs and MIAs represented by the draped empty chair in front of us. We're also inspired this morning by our enlistees, Angel, Vince, Ella, Jaden. Thank you for answering the call to serve. You're following in the footsteps from Lexington and Concord to Gettysburg, to Flanders Field, to Omaha Beach, to Heartbreak Ridge, to Quezon, to Fallujah, and to Kandahar. And to our veterans, who we honor here today, on behalf of the state of Indiana, thank you for your service. God bless you all. God bless our veterans, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
I am honored to get the opportunity to introduce our keynote speaker for today's ceremony, Master Chief Chris Chisholm. Master Chief Chisholm was born and raised in Garrett, Indiana, grew up on a small farm, played sports, was an FFA president, graduated in 1981. Went to Indiana University in Fort Wayne for 2 years, and then joined the Navy and the coveted nuclear power program in 1983. Master Chief's career took him to many parts of the world on the 5 Nimitz-class aircraft carriers that he served on. He served 3 instructor tours at the Nuclear Power Training Unit outside of Saratoga Springs, New York. He was qualified to supervise and operate the nuclear reactors and all support equipment needed for long-term deployments. Chris retired in 2011 from the U.S. Navy after 28 years and worked as a superintendent of mechanical maintenance at the Davis-Besse Nuclear Power Plant located on Lake Erie, about 20 miles east of Toledo, Ohio. Chris retired from there 2 years ago, keeps busy on his small farm with a pond, drives a school bus for the local school district, which he thoroughly enjoys. He's married to his classmate Pamela, and they enjoy their pets, their community, and their freedom. Please welcome Chief Chisholm.
Greetings. I want to welcome all the students, the administrators. I want to welcome the veterans. we want to welcome the faculty and friends. Okay, Superintendent Tracy basically got my introduction out of the way. I got to get my nerves going here because what started this program has just been overwhelming with both emotion and gratefulness for everybody here. Like was already previously mentioned, I grew up in northern Indiana, a little bit north of Fort Wayne. I loved my community, never really ventured far out of the community. So after going to IPFW for a couple years and realizing that the economic situation in Northeast Indiana in 1983 was not very conducive, it was time to make a change in my life. And nothing better than the Naval Nuclear Power Plant. I mean, your parents and grandparents can tell you what 1983 was like: 13% unemployment, 16% interest rates, and it just wasn't, you know, Fort Wayne, Indiana had a place where they took 10,000 jobs out of the town because you don't see any new international scouts out on the road, do you? The Navy was great to me. It was something I thought about doing. I thought I needed to get into something that was a challenge, though. I just couldn't go into something and that didn't motivate me. I needed to do something that was going to make a difference. And my biggest withdrawal about going in was the fact that they wanted me to go in for 6 years. I'm like, oh my God, 6 years? That's a lifetime. I ended up staying for 28. My time after the Navy was spent in commercial nuclear power, and I will tell you that commercial nuclear power is the exact 180 of Navy nuclear power and the Navy and the military in general. It wasn't about family, it wasn't about unity, and it was there for one purpose: make electricity and make money. And I was kind of the round peg in the square hole. And after 10 years, we saw an opportunity to break away and enjoy ourselves and enjoy our life, and that's what we did. And I love what I do. I drive a school bus part-time and take kids to sporting events and drive for other route drivers. It's a small school. It's just a little bit smaller than Brown County High School, and it's a pretty good gig. Why do we celebrate Veterans Day? Well, on November 11th of 1918, we basically quit fighting, which was supposed to be the Great War, the war to end all wars, World War I. 1 year later, in 1919, on the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, President Wilson said this is going to be Armistice Day, and we take time out of our lives to celebrate, you know, the sacrifices that were made. It kind of stayed that way until after World War II, and World War I obviously wasn't the war to end all wars. World War II began and ended finally, and President Eisenhower, who was a general during World War II, for those that didn't know that, in 1954 went from Armistice Day to Veterans Day, and it stayed Veterans Day. Since then, there was a short period of time in the early 70s where it wasn't always celebrated on November 11th. It was celebrated to coincide with 3-day weekends, but later in the 70s, they decided that it will be on November 11th, period. But, you know, this isn't more of a history lesson in its evolvement. It's much more about the widespread recognition and celebration that Veterans Day has changed and evolved into the last 20 to 25 years. The 5 words, thank you for your service. I don't imagine too many Vietnam veterans, when they came home, heard those words. Okay, they didn't hear that. Okay, they didn't get a free meal at Applebee's. They didn't get a free chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A. Okay, there was no fanfare. There was no real appreciation. So, first of all, thank you, Vietnam veterans, because I think you guys will kind of. I think you guys were kind of short-changed a little bit. And then, I don't know, maybe this is my personal opinion, but a lot of others are going to align, but after the unity that occurred after 9/11, people started recognizing the sacrifices that are made. I mean, there's 19 million veterans in the United States right now. There's 2 million active duty and reservists currently on the rolls. And to see 4 more people willing to raise their right hand and support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. is inspirational. So, and like was already spoken by a previous speaker, the recognition of the sacrifices that are made by the spouses and the families at home. They're doing the dirty work while you're doing the dirty work, okay? You know, back to that thank you for your service, there was a point where when they first started doing it, I'm thinking, well, why are they thanking me? I mean, I wasn't in a foxhole shooting a rifle, getting shot at. I was in an engine room on an aircraft carrier making steam to launch and recover aircraft that did go into foreign lands and put warheads on foreheads, okay? This is for the elementary students. A Nimitz class carrier is a 1,092-foot naval warship. It's the largest ship in the Navy. It is nuclear powered, and it has 2 reactors, and it has 4 big propellers, and it is capable of steaming for 25 years without stopping for fuel. Now, you gotta stop and get groceries, obviously, but they don't have to rely on having to be refueled. And so the projection of sea power is as much of a deterrent as anything. And so when I say Nimitz class carrier, I want for everybody, students, to know that that's what it is. It's the 68 class carrier that has been the forefront of our projection of sea power for the last 50 years. Back to being part of something big. Okay, Naval Nuclear Power School was no joke. So I left IPFW and was going to dive into the Navy, and then I found out that it had a 40% failure rate for Naval Nuclear Power School. And I'm like, there is no way I'm going to fail this. So studied, you did 6 months of nuclear power school, and at that time it was in Florida. No Disney World for me, okay? You stayed, your face was in the schoolhouse. And then you went to a land-based prototype unit where I actually was an instructor 3 times afterwards, but you taught kids, and I say kids, young men and women, how to operate a nuclear power plant safely. It was just, it was something really I wanted to do, and I couldn't have done it without teachers. You go back and you start thinking about teachers and the people that helped instruct you, and ladies and gentlemen, you have to listen to your teachers. Pay attention in school, okay? Pay attention in physics class and advanced algebra and trig and in chemistry, because all that I had in high school gave me the ability to succeed in nuclear power school. You know, I went in the Navy as an E3 with very limited skills, and I retired as the senior nuclear propulsion operator on the East Coast. Got to meet a lot of different people. Met 2 presidents, H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton. We had countless sports celebrities. We were in Southeast Virginia, so you always had NASCAR guys. You guys may not know them, but everybody else they'll recognize the words Greg Biffle and Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett, okay? And then while we were on deployment once, we had one guy that's a legend, was Mr. Chuck Norris was on the ship, and we got to spend some time with Chuck Norris, and he was one of the most genuine, nicest people I've ever met. One of my most favorite sea stories was in 1994, where we were part of the 50th commemoration of the D-Day celebration. D-Day is when the American forces in June 6th of 1944 commenced the storming of the beaches on the northwest side of France to begin the liberation of Europe from the stronghold of Nazi Germany, okay? And we lost a lot of men that day. But we had the 50th anniversary, and we had the president and his wife and all the press and CNN and Bernie Shaw and Wolf Blitzer and all those folks were on board. And we got off the ship and we went and saw that area of Omaha Beach and Utah Beach where Americans and Canadians and British were buried. And that was something that was pretty moving. But, you know, going to all these places and is what I enjoyed the most about the military. Watching the people that you train succeed is the most rewarding thing. Watching them get promoted, watching people get a college program they put in for, or watching somebody advance and then obtain an officer program. A Master Chief is not an officer. A Master Chief is the senior enlisted person on board the ship usually, or there will be several of us if it's a big enough ship. But there's nothing that's still like the tingle that you get when you take a 97,000-ton aircraft carrier that's sitting dead in the water, and then within 5 minutes is going at speeds greater than 35 miles per hour, shooting a rooster tail off the fantail of the ship. That's what makes me tingle. So it wasn't the 18 4-inch soils or my own accomplishments. It's the personal relationships with all the people. In 1997, we started embracing women in the combatants. And, you know, I had officers in my department, and you know what? Everybody has a job to do. So basically, it's personal accountability, and everybody it was go as normal, and it's been really good. And when I was at Schoolhouse, I trained the first female officer to go to a Navy submarine. So, and she was a top-notch sailor, and I'm sure she did well. So you're a blend of yourself, your family, your teachers, your coaches, your scout, your 4-H leaders, your clergy, your friends. Choose wisely. Choose wisely. You'll carry it with you the rest of your life. And talk about diversity. The people that you meet in the military. When I went to boot camp in 1983 at Great Lakes up in the north side of Chicago, if anybody can recall Christmas of 1983, it was the coldest Christmas still on record. Anyways, there was 80 of us. There were people from New York, people that were Hispanic, people that were Latino, people that were African American, people that were Oriental, people that were Indian, okay? We all got together and got along to accomplish a common goal. My first division on Theodore Roosevelt, which is my favorite aircraft carrier, had people from greater than 30 states. We had 2 guys named Brown. We had 2 guys named Green. We had 2 guys named Gray. I had a black gentleman named White and a white gentleman named Black. And we had our token Native American Sioux Indian named Red Wing. So we had it all. That was just an M division on the Roosevelt. And then to kick it all off, a lot of kids won't know this, but we also had 4 guys named Cosby, Steele, Nash, and Young, which was hilarious. I'm going to tell a story about accountability and about rules and regulations. Everybody knows that you have to keep your uniform impeccable, keep your hair cut, shaved, shoes shined. It's all part of the military standards and accountability. Well, we were, once again, back on the Roosevelt on my first tour, and I was in charge of about 8 or 9 sailors. This one guy, he was a good worker, but he was, he didn't come to work as the sharply dressed. And he didn't have black socks on. Black socks are part of the uniform. This guy had white socks on. I kind of overlooked it the first couple of times, but if I keep overlooking it, then that's a reflection upon me for not enforcing standards. So my boss said, how come so-and-so doesn't? His name was Tim. Why doesn't Tim have black socks? And so finally I said, well, I guess I have to be the boss. And I went up to Tim and I said, how come you can't wear black socks like everybody else? And this guy just got done crawling out of the bilge where he was working on a valve or something, and he said, he was an E3, okay? He said, my wife's at home with the baby's sick, we don't have any more diapers, she's using cloth diapers. The transmission in my car's broke, and I've been catching the bus to get to work, and we don't get paid for 3 more days, and we really don't have a whole lot left to eat. I don't have money to buy black socks. And I took a step back. And I said, military is supposed to take care of each other. So we got him some black socks. We got him some groceries. We got him some Pampers. And when he got paid, he got his car fixed. So that's called taking care of people. So, as I close, this isn't a Navy commercial, but I'm going to ask all the students here, when you start thinking about what you want to do the rest of your life, the military is a good option. The military was great for me, okay? But you got to have a plan, because not everybody can join the military. There's things that you can't. If you've had legal issues, you're probably not going to get in the military. If you have medical issues, you're not going to get in the military, okay? That's between you and your recruiter. But have a plan. You got any idea the amount of debt you accumulate going to college now? I'm pretty sure the new administration's not going to give debt forgiveness, okay? So, but you know what? The world needs pipe fitters, it needs millwrights, it needs welders, it needs electricians, it needs heating and ventilation techs, it needs people that can work on diesels. God, Cummins is right down the street, okay? It needs people in the medical field that doesn't require a 4-year degree, okay? Just have a plan. And I want to thank the Miss Adams. I want to thank Superintendent Tracy, but the students that greeted us this morning, the level of professionalism was outstanding. It's so refreshing to see young men and young ladies, mostly young ladies, in dresses, nice clothes, being professional, and they were the ones that greeted us as we came in today. And it's refreshing to see that. Thank you, veterans. Thank you, Brown County High School. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you. I'd like to just take a couple more moments to thank our outstanding musicians who are assisting with our program today and our Brown County High School History Club for all of their assistance. We sincerely appreciate Brown County High School, Brown County Middle School choirs led by Jackie Stewart, and our Brown County High School band led by their director, Matt Finley. I also want to take a minute to thank our very own Mrs. Alicia Adams and Mrs. Emily Llewellyn for their relentless pursuit to support our military families, resulting in Brown County schools receiving the Purple Star designation for each one of our schools in our district. Veterans, when the music begins, our students will greet you and will dismiss you by rows to the auxiliary gym where you will have your picture taken. All veterans, widows, and your families are invited to stay for the luncheon. Thank you.